Hello FPL world, my name is Gordon and welcome to FPL Galaxy. What a game week this has proven to be. Yeah, I'm talking about it in the negative sense because just like game week 14, game week 15 also brought its own challenges. And it seems Manchester City is at the middle of those challenges that we are facing as managers, especially for some of us who went for Foden and also have got Haaland in our teams. Of course, every manager has got Haaland in their team. So for us who had captained Haaland and hadn't made a proper vice captain choice, we suffered terribly in this game week. People had the likes of Almiron who saved their game weeks, and others even went on to have the likes of Trossard. They kept faith in Trossard, not going for Foden. Trossard has returned in the past two game weeks. The game weeks that we thought he wouldn't return are the game weeks that he has actually done so. Scoring against City and scoring against Chelsea also. Just what a draw this game week or this game can prove to be. So guys, welcome to my channel, and this week I'm reviewing my game week 14 and also get to have a feel of the game week 15 selection. But in between those two, I'm going to show you guys the transfer that I've made going into game week 15, and then as usual do my honorable shout of the players I feel you can bring in even though I do not have them. So let's go straight into seeing how I did in this game week. Like I've already stated, it was one of those challenging game weeks yet again. So this is how I did the summary of where I am right now. Overall points standard 739, and of course the overall rank has dropped to about 2,860,492. The last time that I was here with you guys, my rank was somewhere around 2.3 million, but now it has dropped to 2.8 million, which is really bad. And that is due to the fact that I didn't do so well in this game week. As you're able to see, I collected only 51 points, 8 points shy of the overall points in this game week. Yeah, the average points rather. And so that just shows how bad this game week was for me and for some other even top tier managers out there. This is what I went in with in this game week. I only made one transfer. Of course, that transfer was not so a needed transfer because I had to remove Zinchenko to bring in Dallo, who has proved to be a very reliable source of returns in that Manchester United team, collecting bonus points for fun. And this is why I brought in Dallo into my team in readiness for this very game week 15. But before we do that, let's see how my game week 14 went. In goal, I went with Rare. Look at what I'm saying now. So Rare was my goalie. He is my goalie. He's always been my goalie, and that's why I have him in there. In this one, unfortunately, he conceded, but look at that. He got 3 points, meaning there is that extra point that he got for those saves. I can never overemphasize this. As I've mentioned to you guys, Raya is a save point machine, and that's why I always have him in my team. Unless I want to move into another way better goalkeeper who plays for a team that keeps clean sheets, for example Manchester City, but that third player is somebody can use with a better player, for example an attacking player in the Manchester City team, and that's why you need a goalkeeper in a team where you don't necessarily need other players who can maybe block you from having a third player. So Raya for me is the guy. Unfortunately, he didn't keep a clean sheet in this one, but a save point is something that soothes the frustration of not having a clean sheet in that particular game. In defense, the defense did really good, I should say. Starting with Trippier, as you're able to see, he collected those points. So many points he collected in this game week. He had that clean sheet most definitely. Then he had also 2 bonus points. So he had an assist also, and that's why it went over 10. He got another double-digit haul as he has been doing so frequently. So that Newcastle team is doing the numbers on so many teams, and Trippier is at the center of that creativity, as we've been able to see. This was Perisic's last game in my team, and look at what happened. Like I projected, he was able to start from bench, but fortunately so, he gave me something as a goodbye gift because of the suffering that I've gone through in the past game weeks. He came in and was able to assist a goal, and there you are. He gave me 4 points. So there is an assist, 3 assist points in there, plus that 1 point that he collected for featuring in the match. Cancelo only managed to collect the 6 for the clean sheet, so we're happy for that. Look at what happened in this game week. So every point did matter in here. Then that was my mid. My mid was consisting of Mount, Zaha, Foden, Martinelli, and Andreas. As you're able to see, only Martinelli was able to come in with a return, and the others, how poor this game week had been. Mount, I just discovered to say, in that Chelsea team, he was playing a little bit deep. He was following balls back, trying to defend. So it wasn't so much of a good game to watch him in. Expecting him to do something, but unfortunately, in that particular game, don't know what happened with Potter, the kind of tactics he went with. But Mount wasn't just the guy who was going to be able to assist or even score in that match. Maybe he's going to improve, but as you're going to be able to see, the transfer that made involves Mount. Zaha, unfortunately, in this one, he didn't come with the goods. Yeah, that was a blank again. They were playing against Southampton, but it was pretty... Southampton defended so well, just like they did against Arsenal. And so, I can't bash Zaha too much because Arsenal themselves, even as prolific as they've been, they failed to score so many goals. So he did score in the other match that he played, but look at what happened in this one. So let's see what happens next in the match that he plays, the next one, which is more favorable, I feel, against West Ham United. West Ham United ain't so tough a team, I would say. Crystal Palace would fail to score, and Zaha probably will be at the end of such goals. Could be a penalty, we'll see. Foden has been pretty disappointing from the time that most of us went on this Foden bandwagon. He's been giving us ones, as if trying to tell us, hey guys, for trusting in me, here is a one. Of course, in mathematical terms, ones are usually very good grades, but in this FPL sense, we need the most points for them. Yeah, of course, we can't blame for them entirely because it's Pep Guardiola, and there is no apparent reason as to why he's being benched. He's got no injuries. He's been playing brilliantly, so it's just a Pep Roulette thing. Like we've been saying, it's very difficult to predict the Manchester City squad, unless of course you're talking about the likes of Ederson and Cancelo. Those are some of the most fixed players in there, and KDB is getting into that status of such players. Yeah, so this is what happened with Foden. He's given us blanks 2 games consecutively starting from the bench. Martinelli, I already stated, he had a brilliant game against Nottingham Forest. He managed to score there and gave us that wonderful point from the clean sheet, and that's how come the points came to 8. Unfortunately, he was subbed off at 62. Probably they were saving him for the European game, and that's why he was there, only giving us 8 points. So Andreas came in place of Haaland, because I had Haaland in there. Of course, I had Andreas as the first the sub on the bench, so he would then have come in case of anything. And so he only gave me, and of course you other guys who had him there, that extra point for the clean sheet. He was substituted. That match they played against Everton was tricky. There was no goal in there, and amazingly so, Mitrovic was able to fire about 10 shots, which didn't result in any goal. That's how FPL is. That's how football is. There are so many stats that a player would have but not get the results. It's the same with FPL. You would do all you can to have a proper team But what is going to turn out in the real world, the football itself, as you start watching the match, wouldn't be quite as you have had imagined it. And that's why we say do your best to make your team, and as soon as that deadline comes on, just switch off from even beating yourself up if your team doesn't do well. If you made the best decisions you could have made, that is the most you could do. So let's go forward. Up front, I had the likes of Jesus and Kane. As you're able to see, that vice captaincy was slapped on Kane because they were playing Bournemouth, and Bournemouth are a team that concedes so many. And Bournemouth did concede against Tottenham, but unfortunately, with all the 3 goals that Bournemouth had conceded, not one of them did Kane have anything to do in. No assist, no goal. In the week that we needed Kane the most, he awarded us with a 1. How disappointing this game week was. And just look at the numbers in this team. Most of the attacking players either had a 1 or a 2, with the exception of Martinelli and of course Andreas, who had an extra point, and Jesus, of course. So if I were to go with another player, say captaincy, I would have slapped it on Foden. But because Foden had just been confirmed a little bit, let me say a little before the deadline, there was some squad leak, like we've been seeing in the FPL community. There are now some squad leaks, and that's why you hear people talking about, the deadline should be moved to kickoff time so that everybody can have the same advantage in ensuring that we get to have probably the squad of the first matchup. All those things are coming up because some people are getting an advantage over others, especially people who live, for example, in this time zone. Myself, I live in a time zone which is almost similar to that of the UK, so I'm not so affected by time because I'm like 2 hours ahead of UK time. So everything that happens, I get to see or be in the know as they happen. But think about our friends who live in Australia, for example, who live in the United States of America. So because of the time difference, if a leak happens, say around 1, let's say the deadline is around 11 in the UK, and then the leak happens say around 10, it means for somebody who is in the United States of America, they would have been sleeping by then. They would have had to set an alarm to be able to listen into such leaks, which are causing an uproar amongst the FPL managers. And for example, people who are in Australia, of course, for them it would be evening, but they would be awake. But think about the people in the United States of America who would be asleep around the time that the deadline usually goes off. Yeah, so that's what we are talking about. So Ken unfortunately awarded me a 1. The vice captaincy was supposed to be 2 there. Yeah, so that is supposed to be 2, not 1, because he had 1 point, which then doubled into 2. And Jesus had a brilliant game. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to score, but assisted twice. Yeah, so he had a very good game, and in FPL terms, that's all we want. And so for people that captained or vice captain Jesus, fair play to you guys, and you did well by getting the 18 points off him. Now my bench was consisting of the likes of Ward with the 3 points, HAALAND, as you are able to know, he didn't play. Dallo has been brilliant. Look at those 9 points sitting on my bench, and they were laughing at me saying, you could have played me ahead of any one of those midfielders there. But this is not something that we would have seen in hindsight. Most of those midfielders are very good, and you would expect them to probably assist or score, especially seeing the fixtures that they had. But this is FPL, guys. Like I was saying, this is FPL. You never get to know what happens until the match starts. Yeah, so then there's Neco Williams there, who collected a 1 point only because, of course, Arsenal scored 5 goals past them, and Neco Williams himself didn't even start that match. So this is what happened in my team, guys. And so the points that I collected in here totaled up to 51. That's how bad things were. So let's see how the next game week is gonna be. That's game week 15. We only have 2 game weeks remaining before the World Cup, and that's game week 15 and 16. So even as you're making your decisions, bear in mind that we are going to go on a World Cup break from the English Premier League, of course. So let's see the transfer that I made going into game week 15, and this is what I have done. Mount goes out and Trossard makes his way back into my team. Yeah, I had him, I sold him, and the moment I sold him, he then returned twice, collecting 7 points consecutively. That's 14 points in 2 game weeks. And look at what happened. I bought Mount, who has awarded me, I think, about 5 points in the 2 game weeks. Yeah, so I've lost that. So let me just be more patient now. I go with Trossard, hoping he's going to continue with the returns. His form is on fire, and so I expect him to continue with the same momentum. So let's see how this goes. Now guys, let me show you now my game week 15 team selection, and here we go. In goal, I have gone with Rare as usual, playing against Nottingham Forest away. So we'll see how this will go, because unfortunately their talisman Tony has been suspended. He collected 5 yellow cards now, so he's missing this game week against Nottingham Forest. So hopefully this is not going to cause so much of a problem for them. So hopefully they are going to be more defensive in this one than trying to attack, because they do not have a central person to target their balls to. So but Rare, you've got one job in there: save those balls from getting into your goal. That's what you are there for. Give us those save points, please, my guy. Then there's Trippier there. Trippier playing against Southampton. Then there's Dallo there, and then there's Cancelo. Perisic, I do not know why he has come there, just trying to throw me again, maybe trying to tell me to say I'm going to assist and score against Liverpool. But those are the players that I have against those teams. Dallo, hopefully you come in with the goods. If Aston Villa scores in this one, how bad this is going to be. And then Perisic ends up scoring. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, so Foden, Zaha, Martinelli, and Trossard. This is the midfield I've gone for. They've got pretty good matchups there. Of course, Martinelli is not supposed to be Nottingham Forest there. Pardon me, guys. That is supposed to be Chelsea. Arsenal are playing against Chelsea, and that is what is supposed to be showing there. Yes. So as you're able to see, Jesus has got the correct fixture, and that is Chelsea over there. Kane facing Liverpool at home, but we know just how tricky this is going to be. So I'm not expecting so much from him. And as you're able to see, I've slapped the vice captaincy on Trossard. Trossard is playing against Wolves, who have been conceding plenty lately. So hopefully Brighton can do some numbers on them. So if Haaland ends up not playing in this one, Trossard is going to take up the baton from him. Hopefully he's going to return this time around. Foden, I'm not so confident on him starting, and of course that's why I have Andreas there. So should Man City concede, should Cancelo lose points, I'm hoping that it's going to be because probably Andreas has assisted Mitrovic or something similar to that. Yeah, so this is what I'm going in with. Zaha is playing West Ham United, and so hopefully he also does something. Ward, I feel Ward may even be able to get more points than Rare, but this is not something I would want to bet on. Let's see how this goes. Rare, you know your job there. Save points, please. Let Ward not outscore you in this one, because I'm going to beat myself up for having Ward there on the bench when his fixture looks a little bit better, I should say. But look at it. It's Nottingham Forest. It is the worst team in the Premier League because it's at the bottom of the table. But Brentford haven't been so convincing either when it comes to defense. But Rare has been doing the job, and that's why you're there, Rare. My arrangement on the bench, the reasoning behind this is this. Andreas may be able to assist and score, and that's why he's there. Neco Williams may be able to keep a clean sheet, but because he's a rotation risk right now, that's why I have him there. So I may actually even swap them. Perisic coming the second one, and then Neco Williams the third. Because of that, I'm not so sure what's happening with Neco Williams there. It's quite tight because the guy has been playing well. It's not his fault that Nottingham Forest have been conceding plenty. So I just don't feel, or I just don't see the reason as to why he's now starting from the bench. But this is FPL. We want to go with the most logical reasons, and that's why logical decisions rather, and that's why I have him there. He may just be able to start because the other one he started from the bench, so maybe there's that rotation that's happening there. Perisic starting against Liverpool, he may be able to start this one because it's Liverpool, so he may be more experienced than the likes of Sessignon, so that's why he's there. Yeah, so this is my team, guys, and hopefully I may be able to get something more than maybe a 55 from here, but you never know because there are so many teams facing big guys in here, like for example Jesus and Martinelli facing Chelsea. So for them to come up with some attacking returns, it's going to be tricky. Yeah, Brighton did it, but I don't think Chelsea may be able to hand so many goals to their opponents so consecutively. They'll be able to do something. Yeah, so Kane also, I'm not so confident that he's going to return. And just because Haaland is a doubt, I now have to trust the likes of Andreas to come up with some returns, which is not something I'm so confident about. So already, this team looks shaky due to these reasons. So hopefully, I may be able to be above the average score and be able to avoid that red arrow yet again. 3 consecutive red arrows would really hurt my rank because already it's bad there at 2.8 million, so I wouldn't want it going into the 3 millions again. That would be a mammoth task to do, trying to get back from 3 million when I was coming from those ends just some few weeks ago. So this is my team, guys. This is what we are at. And now the honorable shouts. We've got Wilson there, who's got some pretty good fixtures. Wilson, I have to mention, he had a brilliant game week in game week 14. For you guys who had him, fair play to you guys. You did very well on going for Wilson. Wilson scored 19 points, and he's a cheap option for those attackers up front. So one of the reasons as to why Wilson actually is a good option is because some of you guys had the likes of Tony, who picked up a 5th yellow card and was suspended. So you find that Wilson is the most transferred in player who is above those levels. So the other one is Rodrigo playing against Bournemouth and Tottenham. And finally, guys, if you've reached this far, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. If you guys have reached this far, please just subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and do follow me at FPL Galaxy CDM. Catch you on the next one.